and welcome back to Picking Out Loud. Today, we're diving into something that shapes our lives in profound ways: memory. It's how we learn, how we connect to our past, and how we make sense of who we are. But what exactly happens in your brain when you remember something? And why is it that sometimes our memories feel vivid and other times they can be fuzzy or even distorted? Let's take a closer look at how memory works and why it's far more complex than we realize. First of all, what is memory? Memory is the brain's ability to store, retain, and recall information. It's what allows you to remember things like your best friend's birthday, the lyrics to your favorite song, or even how to drive a car. But memory isn't just a passive recording device, it's an active process that involves multiple brain regions and systems. There are three main stages of memory: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Starting with encoding. This is where the brain first processes new information. If you're learning something for the first time, your brain is taking in the details and turning them into a form it can store. Then we have storage. After encoding, the information is stored in various parts of the brain, depending on what type of memory it is. Some memories are stored temporarily, while others are kept long term. Then we have retrieval. This is when you access a stored memory. When you remember something, your brain retrieves the encoded information and brings it back to your conscious awareness. Memory isn't one size fits all. There are different types, each serving its own purpose. One key distinction is short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is like a mental notepad. It holds information for a brief period, usually up to 30 seconds, so you can work with it in the moment. For example, if someone tells you a phone number and you repeat it to yourself, that information stays in the short-term memory for a while. Long-term memory is like a storage warehouse for information you've learned or experienced. Once something moves from short-term memory into long-term memory, it's there to stay. However, long-term memory isn't always perfect. Sometimes we can't access a memory right away, or we may remember it differently than it actually happened. When it comes to memory, several parts of the brain are involved in different ways. We have the hippocampus, which is the brain's memory center. It plays a key role in turning short-term memories into long-term ones. When you experience something new, the hippocampus processes that information and sends it to other parts of the brain for storage. Then, we have the prefrontal cortex. This region is responsible for organizing and retrieving memories. It helps you recall information like what you had for lunch yesterday or the details of a conversation you had earlier. The amygdala. If an experience is emotionally charged, the amygdala is involved in processing the emotional aspects of the memory. This is why emotionally intense memories, like a traumatic event, tend to be so vivid and lasting. Then we have the cerebellum. When it comes to motor memories like riding a bike or tying your shoes, the cerebellum stores and helps retrieve those procedural memories. These types of memories don't require much conscious effort, they're learned through repetition and practice. When you first form a memory, it's like a rough sketch. Over time, through a process called consolidation, your brain strengthens and refines that memory, making it more stable and accessible. This happens when you sleep, particularly during REM sleep, when the brain actively organizes and solidifies new memories. This is why sleep is so important for learning and memory. A good night's sleep helps your brain transfer information from short-term into long-term memory storage, making it easier to recall later. Although memory isn't always reliable. In fact, your brain can sometimes distort memories, filling in gaps with information that wasn't even there. This is because the process of remembering is reconstructive. It's not like playing back a video recording. Several factors can affect the accuracy of your memories, such as misinformation. If you hear false details about an event, your brain may incorporate that incorrect information into your own memory. Then we have stress. High levels of stress or trauma can actually alter the way memories are stored and retrieved. People who experience trauma may have fragmented or distorted memories of the event. This may be because the event was too traumatic that the body or the brain physically it cannot function anymore because of how traumatic it is. It changes the event just by a little bit so that the person can actually have more of a chance to process and heal from it. So it's sort of like a survival instinct. Then we have cognitive bias. Your beliefs and expectations can shape how you remember things. For example, if you believe something is true, you may be more likely to remember events that support that belief, even if they didn't actually happen. Then there's time. Over time, memories can fade or become less detailed. Your brain tends to prioritize emotional or more significant events, but smaller details may be forgotten or altered. You might wonder why we forget things in the first place. There are a few reasons. Decay. Memories that aren't used or revisited tend to fade over time. If you learned something in school but never used it again, that information may gradually disappear from your memory. Then we have interference. New information can interfere with older memories. For instance, learning new names might make it harder to remember names you learned in the past. Then there's the failure to encode. Sometimes information doesn't even make it into memory in the first place. If you're distracted or not paying full attention to something, it's less likely to be encoded into long term memory. And then, how can we improve our memory? While you can't completely control your memory, there are ways to boost its effectiveness. We have repetition. The more you repeat information, the more likely it is to stick. This is why flashcards and spaced repetition work so well for memorization. Then we have association. Create connections between new information and something you already know. This makes the new memory more memorable. Then there's mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness can help improve memory by strengthening your ability to focus and pay attention. And lastly, sleep. As mentioned, good sleep is crucial for consolidating memories. Make sure you're getting enough rest to support your brain's memory process. Memory is an incredible and complex function of the brain. It shapes our identity, helps us learn, and connects us to the past, but it's not always perfect. Our memories can change, fade, or even become distorted. Understanding how memory works can help us better appreciate how we remember and why we sometimes forget. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode gave you some insight into the fascinating world of memory and how your brain stores and recalls your life experiences. Take care of yourself, and I really hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you for tuning in, and